Hey guys, how are you doing? My name is Lena, and welcome to another video. Yeah, I look fucking crazy today. Yes, but that's just because I'm an empress. So I needed to kind of upgrade the TBR video. Before we get started, please check out the description box below to sign some of the petitions that are still missing some signatures. And now let's just get into this wrap up. So as you probably know, I participated on Medieval-a-thon this month, and I have to say, I did great. Now seriously, I completed a total of 5 prompts of the whole readathon, and I read more than 7 books. So that makes me an empress. So let's just get started with those books. So I made some changes from my original TBR because I tried to read The Awakening Fire, but I was so bored at the beginning that I basically DNF'd it, and I will continue another month, but yeah, the beginning is so slow. I read like, I don't know, 100 pages or something. So for covering up the prompt of the wardrobe, I basically choose to read a book that is in pristine condition, and I bought this new, so yeah, this is my suit now. I'm sad that I didn't get the armor, the dragon armor, but we'll work with this. So I read The Stories of Your Life and Others by Ted Chiang. This is basically a collection of sci-fi short stories, and as you can see here, this basically contains the story that the film The Arrival was inspired by, and it's great. I highly recommend this one if you're into sci-fi. I'm not a huge fan of short stories, but this was fantastic. I can't wait to read Exhalation by the same author. My favorites were definitely The Arrival and the last one that I can never remember the name. Liking What You See. It's great. It's just like a chapter of Black Mirror. So it was fantastic. But yeah, I give this one 4 or 5 stars. Because I wasn't really liking the first story. Yeah, it started with pretty meh. It just went on and on. So for my weapons, I read 3 different books. For the bow and arrow, I read The Dark Days Club by Alison Goodman. This is a kind of historical fiction urban fantasy. And it wasn't bad, but it wasn't something special. So I'd probably continue with the series once, sometimes you're in this mood to read this kind of book. And I'll probably continue, but it felt so memorable. I didn't really enjoy the main character. She was okay, but that's it. Nothing else, so But Lord Carlston was great. I was kind of just like, I like him. But on the other hand, I do have to say that I like they had kind of demons, for calling them something, and I really enjoy how they were explained in this one, and the different things that the hunters needed to do. I really like that. That was fairly enjoyable, but it felt such like a first book, it's just everything is explained to you like kind of info dumping. And I don't usually mind that, but in this one it was fairly boring sometimes. And until, I don't know, the last 100 pages or 150 pages, nothing really interesting happened. So what I see it, I could for sure have used this for the yellowed pages. Damn it. But yeah, I give this one like 3.5 out of 5 stars. It was definitely okay, but it didn't... I get nothing out of this, basically. Then, to get a sword, I needed to read a book with something pointy off the cover. So I read Scarlet Tides by David Hare. My god, how much I enjoyed this series. It's unbelievable. I actually just bought the... well, you can't see it, but this is the 3rd book, actually. And oh my god, it was so good. This is literally the definition of political intrigue fantasy. Nothing happened in this book, but so many things happened. It's just like continuously playing mind games with other nations and characters with other characters, and then you're just like, oh, he betrayed him, but he already knew, and it's just like, what? Throughout the whole book, I won't lie to you, it's pretty slow. I mean, it's just like politics all the time and spies and that kind of stuff. It doesn't have like great battles. It does have battles, but they are not just like 200 pages of the book being epic. No. It is just so good. I give this one 5 out of 5 stars because it's fucking fantastic. I can't literally wait for the third one. Although I'm kind of scared because everyone who really enjoyed this one said that the third one was pretty bad. But I'm kind of scared. I won't lie to you. So yeah, but this was so good. I'm in love with one of the characters. He's just evil as fuck. He's so bad, but he's just such an interesting character. It's Guile, and you don't want nothing to do with him, but at the same time, he's just so interesting. I don't know. He seems like a truly great character. And, you know, he does these awful things, but he's motivated by something, and he truly thinks that he does them for the greater good. It's such a good character, and I mean, I loved almost every single female character that is in this book. And that's surprising, because it's by a male author. And sometimes they're great, and sometimes they are not. But they feel consistent, and there's one character called Ramita, and she's a super strong female character, but not in the sense that she's not super strong and acting like masculine. No, she's flawed, and she's done so good. I love it. I just love this series. Basically, in the Moontide Quartet, we follow these two different continents that are basically almost at war with each other all the time. They're super different cultures, and once every 12 years there's this bridge called the Leviathan Bridge that rises out of the sea and connects these both continents. And that's basically all I can say to you, is about how they are going to face the Leviathan Bridge rising up from the sea. And is it going to be war? We don't know. I love it. But yeah, I can acknowledge that this is not for everyone. For a shield, because I mean, I needed a shield, I had to read a book that I had great expectations about. Well, high expectations, I think it was. But I read Jade City by Fondali, and my god, I love this book. I had like a pretty good reading month, but this, I did it a couple of times already. I love this. This was so good. I would classify this more of a urban fantasy than like a fantasy, because it's set on modern times, but they have powers. I love every single character from the Nopi clan, and I'm just so excited to get to the second one, so to see if we are going to kind of meet some characters from the Mountain clan. It was so good. It kind of hit me in the face and broke my heart for a couple of times, because it's a pretty ruthless book actually, and I suffer. I suffer a bit, but it was fantastic. I also gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. It was amazing. I mean, it's super fast paced, but you don't miss like in world building or character development. It's a perfect combination to have a great book, basically. Thank you, Fondly, for this one. In Jade City, we follow this island that is basically dominated by these two different clans. One of them is the Nopi clan, and the other one is the Mountain clan. They were, before they were basically the same clan, but different ideals. They separated, and they are fighting over control in this city. So the cool thing about this is that we also have this thing called Jade, that basically if you wear it, I mean, it makes you faster, it can enhance your senses and stuff like that. It's fucking great. I mean, if you love Asian inspired fantasies, check this one out because it's just so good. I'm super excited to read Jade War this month. Then, the last book that I have to fulfill a prompt is The Collapsing Empire by John Scalzi. And with this, I had to read a book starting with the C, and Oli told me it counted, okay? So it counts. So I can have my cat companion, and I'm so glad I read this. I have already read The Old Man's World by John Scalzi, and I liked it, but I didn't love it. So I didn't understood the hype surrounding this author, but now I understand. I love The Collapsing Empire. It was just so good. I don't know. What a great reading month. I can't really tell you what it was, but I finished it and I was just like, wow, what a great book. I had this great feeling about it. And you know, for me, if a book makes you feel something, it's already a good book. So yeah, I was just so surprised. And I'm just like super excited to get into the second one. I've heard some mixed things about the third one, that some questions weren't answered. That's making me a little bit scared. But overall, I'm just like super surprised by the sci-fi book. I don't know, I just love it. Basically, and the premise is so fascinating in The Collapsing Empire. I loved it. Basically, in the first book of the interdependency, we follow our world, but we are set on the future, and basically we discover this thing called the flow that allows humans to basically travel faster than light. And this flow connects different planets that basically form what is called the interdependency. Well, one day, they basically discovered that the flow is not a static thing and it's actually changing. And it's basically cutting other planets from the interdependency. And I won't tell you much because it's so good. I love the ending of this one. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars because, I mean, I wish it was longer, actually. It's just like so short, but, and I mean, you know, I would like some more character development, but the whole story, I super enjoyed it. Wait, do you want to jump out of this? Stay. Those were basically all the books that I read to fulfill the prompts that I wanted. And now let's just get into the other books that I read this month. I also had in my TBR the Book of Koli by Emma Carey, and this is one of the most forgettable books I have read in a while, and it makes me extremely sad because this is one of my most anticipated releases of this year. And don't get me wrong, it's not bad. It's not a bad book at all, but it was okay. And that is just super disappointing. But overall, if I'll tell you the truth, I barely remember anything about it already. This is one of the first books that I read because I was super excited for it. Basically, I remember that at the beginning, there wasn't much happening. We were in this kind of colony, and that's it. And you have to wait, I don't know, 200 pages or something, almost 200 pages to actually go outside and explore the world. And that was the part that I was most excited about. So you see where my disappointment came through. I will definitely continue reading the series because I like the ending. I don't know. There was just something that completely didn't click with me, and I'm so sad by it. But yeah. So it's as a kind of rough summary of it. I won't tell you much because, you know, so many weird things happen. So I won't tell you much, but basically this is set in the future, and basically the whole environment evolved to kill us, humans, you know. Therefore have murdering plants and such, and different animals and stuff like that. And we follow our main character that has lived basically his entire life in this colony, and he starts to realize that perhaps there's something wrong with it. And the only rule is to never go outside, basically, because everything's going to kill you. And for a reason that I won't tell you, he actually has to go outside. And that's in the synopsis, and it makes me mad because it takes so much time for him to go outside. But yeah, I give this one 3 out of 5 stars. I don't know. I'm pretty sad. I'm also pretty confused. But I don't know. I'll probably continue because I love kind of post-apocalyptic books. So I'll probably continue because I am a masochist. Then, well, let's talk about this one. I also read Oathbringer by Brandon Sanderson in my mind. Let me just leave one of them over here. This was so incredibly good. I mean, I have to say that with Brandon Sanderson, I always know that it's going to be like a high level book, that it's going to be good. So it's harder for me to be shocked by how good one of his books are. So I kind of judge them more severely, and I tend to not be surprised by them. But this one, oh boy, this was fantastic. I think Oathbringer is the best book Brandon Sanderson has written, basically. It has so many cool things. And it's also kind of set around my favorite character. So perhaps that was a thing. Yeah, but doesn't matter. Oh my god, I like Dalinar so much, and I like him more knowing his past now. Yes. But this was so good. I love the character development in this one, with Shallan, with Kalina? What the fuck? With Kaladin and Dalinar and Adeline. Oh my god, Adeline is such a good character. And the battle, whoa, it was great. But yeah, I'm just like super happy with this series right now. I really can't wait for Rhythm of War to come out on November. This was fantastic. I mean, obviously 5 out of 5 stars. It was great. I think this one is Branderson at its best, and it makes me so happy because now I truly think that the books are only going to get better and better. And wow, that's going to be fantastic. But yeah, I'm super in love with the Stormlight Archive. I can't help it. I for sure like this one more than Mistborn, like 100%. Then we have The White Tree by Edward B. Robertson, and I have so many mixed feelings about this book. I'm surprised by how much I like it, and I'm also surprised by how much I didn't like some parts of it, which is really weird because they are not like, it's not that there's something wrong with it, it's just like some parts of it were just like bore as hell, and I was just like, oh, I'm going to listen to the audiobook so this can go faster, you know? But then I would just get to a part where I would just like listening, just looking at nothing, just focusing on the audiobook because it was so interesting. I don't know if it's because perhaps this is this author first book. I have to check that out, but maybe it's because of that. I do know that this first trilogy, this is the first book in the trilogy, the Cycle of Aram, and now I kind of understand the low rating in this first book because it's really weird and it has a problem with pacing. Definitely, it's just, yeah, I can't tell you what exactly it was that I didn't like. It's just that sometimes they were just troubling and I was just like bored out of my mind for some reason. But the part on the temple and the last bit, it was fantastic. But yeah, I'm definitely continuing with this series. I mean, I want to get to the Red Sea, the next cycle by this author, so badly. But yeah, I'll probably read the second book on July or somewhere in the summer so I can keep going with the series and see if he actually kind of... if he got better, basically, to say it like just super roughly. But yeah, it's weird. I give this one 3.5 out of 5 stars. It was a weird trip, but it was good. I will even say that it was more like a 3.75 out of 5 stars, definitely. More close to a 4 than a 3.5. Yeah, So, in this world, the magic basically comes from the god of death that's called Aram. And we follow our main character called Dante, and he's basically obsessed with wielding the nether. That is this magic that comes from the dead god. And he basically just steals this book that is like the holiest book of this religion that basically adore the god of death. And he's basically being persecuted by them, and it's super fun at times. But yeah, that's like a rough way to say how the story goes, because it kind of, everything revolves around the book, but not at the same time. It's pretty weird, but it's a good one. I will recommend that if you're interested, you'll try it. Because why not? Let's just talk about a thriller for a bit. This is Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough. What the fuck? This book has a pretty weird twist at the end. So it might not be everyone's cup of tea. I get that, but it was mine. It blew my mind. My goodness. Those last, I don't know, 5 pages. I was just so shook, being like, oh my god, how I didn't realize this. It was fantastic. I loved it. I gave it to like 4.5 out of 5 stars. I definitely consider that it's weird and it doesn't make much sense, and not many people is going to love this, but it was great. In this one, we basically follow Louise. She kind of separated from her husband a couple of years ago, and she's not over it. So she basically ends up meeting this guy called David, and she kind of falls for him. Really? They don't get to do anything because she finds out that he is actually married. A couple of days later, David turns out to be her new boss. So, you know, things kind of go really weird. But then she actually ends up meeting David's wife, Adele, and she starts also a friendship with her. And it's just like, whoa, she's seeing her, but she's seeing her too. And it's super weird, but it was great. I'm sorry, it's just, this book, it's so weird. It's one of the weirdest twists I've ever seen, definitely. Then I also have here Hyperion by Dan Simmons, and I have many mixed feelings about this one. I love the premise of Hyperion. I think it's brilliant, and the end, this is basically a collection of short stories. Because we follow these six or seven, I don't remember right now, 6 or 7, I don't remember, but we follow them and we basically learn their individual story, and each story is told in a different way. One is like more of a kind of thrillery spy tale, and the other one is more like artistic because he's a poet, and one is kind of a diary. It's really weird, and I think it worked. It worked, definitely worked, but do I like it? I don't know. Short stories are definitely not my thing, even though I did really enjoy Stories of Your Lives, and this one is not something that I gravitate towards, if you know what I mean. But at the same time, I think it really worked. I don't really know how to explain it, because it's really weird. We follow these 6, 7 pilgrims, I don't remember, trying to get to these tomes of time to get to the Shrike, which is basically like a legendary lethal creature, and they all have a story surrounding the Shrike, and that is fucking great. It was fantastic. But at the same time, I would prefer that it was a linear story. So much more. I would prefer to have just flashbacks and center around the present story, because I think that was the part that I liked the most. Still, I think this is a pretty good book. I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars, and I will definitely continue with Hyperion Campus. It's just that I'm really conflicted with it. I don't know what it, I don't really know what it was, but I don't know. It's just weird. It's a weird feeling. Then I read the Light Brigade by Cameron Harley. I already knew about this book and I was pretty interested on it, but I saw the Shades of Orange video recommending SFF books, well, science fiction books only, and I saw Angela from Literature Science Alliance talking about this, and wow, this was so good. I'm not the hugest fan of time travel and stuff like that, but wow, this was super solid. I have a pretty hard time connecting with a book instantly, but the premise sounded great already for this one, and it starts off fantastic. So I was just hooked. I finished this book in 2 days because I just needed to keep reading, and that's pretty weird for me. And I'm a person who actually just kind of reads the same amount of pages every day, but this one was so good. By the end, my mind was just like, what the hell is happening now? I don't understand. So let me explain you a bit, because it's kind of weird to explain, basically. So in this world, we are kind of at war with Mars, and the way that they basically deploy troops is by making them into light and they basically reform on the point that they want to. But when our main character Deeds goes through that trouble, she actually comes back different, and I kind of don't want to tell you more because it's fucking great when you experience it. I don't really want to tell you much about it, but yeah, there's definitely a bit of paranoia in this book, and I loved it. It was really good. I gave it like 4.5 stars. I will say that objectively it's a 4 stars, but based on my enjoyment, it could definitely be a favorite. Like, not a 5 stars favorite, but 4.5 favorite? Yeah, totally. This is going of my favorite of science fiction for sure. Then I also read a horror novel. This is The Twisted Ones by T. Kean Fisher. And I read this one because Kayla really said that it was fantastic. And also Leslie had read a book by the same author saying that it was great. So you know what? I grabbed it, and man, it was really, really good. This was such a great reading month. This was like a weird mixture of books. But I ended up giving this one 4.5 out of 5 stars. And dude, I have never been scared of a sentence before. I listened to this as an audiobook, and it was terrifying sometimes. Because it did these sounds. There's this thing that hits itself against the door and the windows, and it was just like, what? I was so scared. I'm not usually that baby of a person, but it was pretty terrifying. So in this one, I won't tell you much about it because I think that this one is so much better if you don't know much. But we basically follow Mouse, and she's tasked with going to her grandmother's house to clean it up. She was basically a hoarder, and she discovers the general office step-grandfather. She discovers that he was kind of obsessed with these people that he called the Twisted Ones, and she reads this sentence, and that sentence is stuck in her head, and she's repeating it all the time. It was scary. It was pretty scary. I have to say that I don't think this book is going to do it for everyone, but it was definitely good. I'm super happy that I actually read it. And the last book that I read this month was The Unspoken Name by A.K. Larkwood. And this is a weird book. I give it 4 stars, but I think it's below 4 stars. I don't think that it's a 3.5, but it's not like a for like the Light Brigade. Nah, not at all. It was pretty weird. I thought that we will follow a linear story, but it's not. It has a good amount of time jumps, and I don't love that in books. I think that if your book has more than one time jump, it makes the story not as good. I know it's hard to understand, but basically, our main protagonist is going to be sacrificed to her god because that's the thing. That's how life is in this part of the world. And she decides that she is not ready to basically be killed, and she runs away with this magician. And she's basically trained to become this spy assassin thing. And I thought we were going to follow her through that. But no. No. We start with that, and then 2 chapters in we jump, and she already has like 16, I think, because she starts with 12 or 14 or something like that, and then we jump. And it's just like, what? And she has already been training. And it's just like, where is my training montage? And then again, we jump ahead again. And now she's doing other things with this guy, but other things. And it was confusing. I don't know. It's weird. I think that I definitely enjoyed the most the, let's call it the 3rd arc, where we start jumping around in time. But I don't know. I have a weird feeling with this one. Will I continue with the series? Probably, because it's so hard for me to DNF anything. So I'll probably continue, but I don't know. I'm pretty confused with this one. It's just hard. Maybe I had too many high hopes or high expectations for it, and that's why it was really weird. But I don't know. It's definitely not my favorite. And I don't know. I have to think about if I really want to continue with the series. But I don't know. So yeah, those were basically all the books that I read. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. But if I am, I will include it on my next wrap up. It was a pretty meh month reading wise because I was super stressed at the beginning of the month. But yeah, it ended up being pretty good, and I read so many amazing books this month. But yeah, that's going to be all for today. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!